The opinions expressed in the following programs are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Rogers nor Rogers TV.
This program is brought to you by NHL Center Ice. Follow the teams and players you want to watch no matter where they play. NHL Center Ice is part of the Rogers Super Sports Pack.
Welcome to another exciting episode of In Conversation with Alethia. I am your host, Alethia O'Hara-Stephenson. In this show, I sit down with amazing community individuals doing inspiring things in our communities. The show will educate, it will inspire, and it will empower you. Today, I am honored to have an amazing rapper, songwriter, artist by the name of Fame Holiday with us. He is an award-winning rapper, and he's doing some amazing things in his Mississauga community, showcasing mental health and addiction and creating awareness through music. So Fame, welcome to the show. I'm super excited to have you.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate the platform, and this is it's been a long time coming. This is overdue, but I'm happy to be here.
Wonderful, wonderful. I'm so excited to have you, and we're going to go right into the conversation because you've been doing some pretty amazing things, especially over the last 4 years. Mm-hmm. But your journey did not start 4 years ago. Mm-hmm. In fact, I believe you started performing and rapping when you were 14 years old.
Correct.
How did you get started?
Honestly, music has always been a part of my life. It's always been a passion. But how did I get started? That's a good question. As I grew as a young man, as a kid in high school, I learned that music was a way for me to express myself, really put my feelings into music, and that was my way of coping with things. I was never really big on talking about my emotions or, talking to other people. It's just, I kept it in the music, and that was my therapy, as people would say. And once, my parents or my mom, she came across my notebook, and I had family members come across my writing and stuff. They're like, yo, you're actually really good. you should take this serious. And they would hear me rapping in the bedroom and stuff. So they kind of encouraged me. Mm-hmm. And then one day I remember I was 14 in grade 9. I put out my first song on YouTube, and it went crazy. A lot of people streamed it. It had over 60,000 streams. And I was like, wow, people really like this. And everyone in my high school was very supportive. So it kind of just gave me that confidence that I needed to, take it more serious.
That's impressive. And for a young man to be passionate about writing, that's almost unheard of. But I love the fact that you're able to take that, something that was therapeutic to you, and not transform it into something amazing that you're turning into a profession.
Absolutely. No, it's a blessing for sure.
That's quite incredible. Now, you talk about, I know you did an interview, I think it was last year, and you focused on your community, and you talked about your mom just now. What role did your mom, your grandparents, your great-grandma, play in shaping the man that you are today, and even your musical journey?
Yeah, I mean, outside of the music, I was actually, my mom had me at a very young age. She was only 16. So I didn't grow up with my dad, unfortunately. So single parent, seen a lot of struggling and difficult times, but it built me to see things and kind of grow up a little bit quickly. My mom really inspired me to motivate me to just whatever I want to do in life, chase it, and it will work out however God plans it to. But you got to take that chance, and seeing her grind it out, what she went through, raising me at such a young age.
Yes.
I'm anything is possible because she made it through. So that definitely molded me in a certain way. And my great grandmother, unfortunately, she passed away last year, but thank you. But that's someone who definitely has a big impact on just that support system that you need, especially as a kid. So she's always been my #1 fan. So
that's awesome.
Lots of support in the family for sure.
Love it, love it. Shout out to all the moms, who are grinding it out there and making things possible for themselves and their families, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. Big up all the moms. Come on.
Love it, love it, love it. Now, you're no stranger to hard work. Obviously, you've been doing the work since you were 14. What challenges have you had to overcome, whether personally or even professionally, to get you to where you are today?
Yeah, I think with music, I'm sure a lot of artists can relate watching this. There's a journey, and it takes time to find yourself. You can be inspired by other people, but you got to separate being inspired and wanting to be like someone and finding yourself and figuring out, okay, I'm inspired by this person. They motivate me. They encourage me to go further. But what is my identity? And I feel like for a long time, it took me a while to get that. But I would say about 2018, 17 was a time where I'm like, okay, I think I know my sound a little bit. I'm gonna focus on this and study it. And now I can confidently say, like, I know myself and I know my sound. I know what I want to put out in the universe, and I know what I stand for. So it's been a process, but I'm here now. And that's definitely what got me there, just not giving up.
I love that. I love that. And you talk about the process, and I know your musical journey started off, you're a rapper, right? And if I look at rappers, typically when you think of rap music, it's, you know, the glitz and the glam and the fast cars and the money. But here you're using your music, you know, with the amazing beats, the amazing lyrics, but you're sending a message out there of hope. You're sending a message out there to inspire individuals, and you're creating awareness on something so powerful. Starting with Take Me Away, that you wrote, I think, in 2021?
Correct, yeah.
Yeah, what was the reason around Take Me Away, and, you know, what was going through your mind, what was happening for you personally, why that song was so important for you to make, and what is the song about for our audience members?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely something that had a big influence on that was the George Floyd situation. You know, me being on social media, that being like my source of my music career pretty much, and like my business, like anything music related, I was on my phone all the time. So all I kept seeing, George Floyd, you know, obviously what happened, RIP to him. Just terrible stories and just, you know, police brutality and a lot of negative things. And you might not express it to people, but, you know, it sits in your brain. Like what you see, it, you're feeding your brain that type of stuff. So it definitely sat in my mind for a long time, and I didn't really know how to express it. But, you know, I would have times where my mom I'll come home and she'll be like, you know, Jamin, that's my real name, Jamin. You know, be careful when you go outside. Like, you know, watch like who you're hanging around with. Like, I don't want you to get caught up in anything. Be careful, be careful, be careful. And, you know, being told that so many times, it makes you very aware. Like, I really do got to watch my surroundings, because you never know what you're going to come across. And I feel like that record was me just kind of explaining how I feel about the George Floyd situation, how I feel about Black Lives Matter, how I feel about, you know, my brothers and sisters, like, you know, we're killing each other essentially as well. We're like against each other when we should really support each other. And there's a lot of emotions in that record, but everything I said is real. It's a very vulnerable record for me, for sure.
Yeah, and, you know, I can totally understand that record, because the same message that, you know, your mom was giving to you is the same message that I would say to my son, right? He just turned 14, so when you go outside, be careful of your surroundings. So I can totally understand from a mom's perspective, but hearing your journey and the reason why you wrote that song, I think it's quite powerful. Yeah. Right? Have you had any feedback from young people who, you know, who have heard the record and, you know, it kind of resonated with them? Absolutely. And before I get like right into that, I also want to like add, like I felt like it was such a vulnerable record that I didn't have any intentions on putting it out at first. I remember I had a studio session with a big producer in the city. He goes by the name of Nice Productions. And I was playing him some records, and that is a particular record that stood out to him, and he was like, yo, Fame, like, you need to put this out now. This is not only good for people to hear like how you feel, but it's very necessary for the times we're in. You know, a lot of people can resonate with this message, like, you got to put it out. So when he said that, it was like wildfire in my brain, like, you know, like the light bulb went off, as you could say. And I was like, that's a no-brainer. Like, you're right. You know, a lot of people can resonate with this, and I want to do this for the people. Like, even though I'm being vulnerable on the record, like, I'm not afraid to be judged. Like, I want to do this for the people. So if you've seen the music video, which I'm sure you have, I got like the whole city involved, and, you know, everyone in that video is someone who has a big platform and is doing something positive for the community. So I want to bring everyone together and just show, like, you know, unity is how we make change. You know, really spreading awareness in the right ways. Like, this is the stuff that matters, even outside of the music. Like, it's bigger than me. You know what I mean? Definitely. And like going back to what you were asking, like the response, it's mind-blowing. You know, we got an award from the city of Mississauga just for the music video and the impact that it had. And just to know, like, it changed people's life, and it reminded them, like, you know, you're not alone going on this journey, and we all feel different emotions. It's just about coming together and having these conversations to get through it. That's brilliant, and I love that. You know, going back to the comment I made earlier, you know, when you think of rap music, you know, you tend to think of, you know, the fast cars and girls and, you know, all of those other things. But here you are, you're able to essentially carve out your own brand, right? Creating awareness and empowering other individuals in community. And I think that's quite powerful. And to see someone as young as yourself, you know, making that impact, I think is quite incredible. So how do you feel about the journey that you're on and the fact that you've carved out essentially a niche for yourself, right? I don't see anyone else doing what you're doing around, you know, mental health and awareness, or just even awareness and education to empower a community. How do you feel?
I feel like I have purpose. You know, I feel like I'm a true believer of God. I know that's not for everybody, but for me personally, I can speak for myself. I do believe in God, and I feel like we have a great relationship, and that's somebody that I pray to often, you know, for giving thanks and just guidance, you know, and I always ask for guidance, and I trust that I'm on this journey, and, you know, whatever needs to be said, like, let me be that vessel, let me be that voice for the people in that sense. So I just feel great that people resonate with the music, and it's not something I'm doing for clout or attention. It's honestly real, and it makes me feel good to know that not only is it like therapy for me, but the fact that it could reach other people and help them get through their situations that they're going through, like that's like almost like a superpower, you know? You
recently went back into some schools to share, you know, the work that you're doing. What was that like?
Amazing. Like, it's one thing to, like, you know, like I said, connect with people, but my main focus with the record What a Year was like to really engage with the youth, you know, understand their perspective and what they're going through, and going back to my brain and like, what was high school like for me? You know, what was that experience, and is it any different from what kids are experiencing now? And a lot of it's not that much different, you know. It's the same cycle. You get exposed to drugs and just so many different ways you can go, and it's just about trying your best to understand you and what you stand on, and the choices to make. You know, it's all about, I would say, parenting as well. You know, parenting is a big thing as well. But yeah, to add to that, that experience was awesome, and it's not over. You know, I feel like What a Year is an awesome record, and it's a timeless record. Take Me Away is a timeless record. These are things that I can go to schools all year round, 5 years from now, and have these conversations, and it's still going to be impactful. So I think it's just amazing to have records that could do that, and I don't plan to stop. I got a lot more coming on.
I love that. I love that. And I love the fact that you're able to go and dig deep, right, and bring out some of these, you know, powerful messages for the world to hear, right?
Absolutely.
And then these amazing videos that you're creating as well.
Thank you.
I want to touch on your writing process, your journey. Like, how do you get to really sit down and put pen to paper to come, or, you know, maybe it's your laptop, but how do you get to that stage where the music starts to flow? Yeah,
I definitely go through like a bunch of beats, or sometimes, you know, even outside of just the beats, how I get in my zone for the most part, and when the records actually mean like something and have a big impact, it all starts from a conversation. So the producer I'm working with at that time, we're talking about life, you know, what are you going through right now? This is what I'm experiencing. What's happening in the news right now, like, you know, what's going on, and those conversations just kind of lead to like, I want to make a song about this. You know, this is going to mean something. This is for the people. So it's very natural. But I would say it all stems from a great conversation.
I love that. I love that. What has been your favorite record so far, or song so far?
Oh, that's tough. A lot of people say, like, you know, I'm a very versatile artist. So like you said, like a lot of rap is more glitz and glam, and I feel like that's cool too. Like, you gotta have balance. You know, it's cool to have serious records where you're really saying something, and you gotta have the party music too. You know, if you can do it. And
I like that.
It's tough to say my favorite record right now.
You know what?
What are you gonna say?
Hold that thought.
Okay.
Hold that thought. We're gonna take a quick break, and we're gonna come back to see what your favorite record is.
Let me think about it.
I like that. So we will be right back with In Conversation with Alethia, and we'll pick up the conversation with Fame Holiday, amazing award-winning rapper and songwriter. We'll be right back.
Looking for the best way to get the Major League Baseball games you want to watch? Rogers Super Sports Pack has you covered. With MLB Extra Innings, you'll have a premium ticket to out-of-market regular season games, with all games available in HD. Don't miss the action from the games you want from both the American and National Leagues. MLB Extra Innings, part of the Super Sports Pack. For only $35.95 a month, Rogers customers get all this for one all-inclusive price. Order using your remote starting on channel 431, or visit Rogers.com today.
Welcome back to In Conversation with Alethia. I'm in the studio with Fame Holiday, award-winning rapper, songwriter.
Yes.
And we're going to pick up the conversation and talking about, your favorite song, your favorite record.
Yeah, so while we were on break, I was just thinking, I always have different favorite songs in different moments, but I would say right now, one of my favorite records is probably, it's called Made Me, featuring Havaya Mighty, which is a big time superstar from Brampton.
Nice.
So shout out to her. But yeah, that record is pretty much just about, the struggle made me who I am. Like the experiences I've gone through molded me to the person I am today outside of like my family and friends,
Okay, I like that. I'll have to go and listen to that now.
For sure, check it out.
Wonderful, wonderful. So this year has been incredible for you, and you've actually put out a song called What a Year.
Mm-hmm.
And it has created headlines and, making the rounds, right, and doing incredible things on the airways. So tell me about that song and the reason why behind it.
Mm-hmm. So this record, this whole movement, it's all come from a different place. So I'll start in the beginning. For me, last year was a great year musically. A lot of accomplishments. I did my first festival. I won some awards. I graduated from a music program, which is a big accomplishment for me. But outside of that, like I told you earlier, my grandmother passed away.
Mm-hmm.
I lost my grandfather, unfortunately.
Wow.
I had a little niece who passed away as well, and then a friend of mine actually passed away to an overdose.
Wow.
So it was a lot of emotions, and that was honestly my first time ever experiencing grief. So to have back-to-back, passings happen, I really didn't know how to deal with it. And on top of that, I was so busy musically, it was almost like there's no time to sit with those entities or energies at that moment. It's like I feel very numb to it at this moment, but like I know eventually, and talking to friends, they said it's gonna hit you eventually. Like you're gonna have to take some time off and just reflect. But I was like, yeah, I just don't feel anything right now. Like I know it's there, but I don't know how to let it out. And I remember, sorry, I'm like stuttering because it's a deep topic, But I remember being in the studio with Beats by Felix, which is one of my producers, and he did What a Year. And he was playing me some beats, and he's like, Fame, I have this record. It's pretty dark. Like, I don't know if anyone would ever use it, but I just want to play it for you. Like, let me see what you think. And as soon as I heard, like, the instruments and the way that the beat was coming in, it just felt so dark, and I felt like I needed to say something. So I was like, put this in the program. Let me just get in the studio and vibe and see what happens. And that's kind of how the record came together. And I feel like that was the first time I ever really tapped into those emotions that I was almost neglecting because I just wasn't ready to put it out there yet, on my experiences with grief. So a lot of that pain came out in that record. And then, like I said, unfortunately, my friend passed away to a drug overdose.
Right.
And that was somebody, I don't know if you know her, but her name was Debbie. And she was very popular on social media for like, being cyberbullied essentially, and people laughing at her for her circumstances, being homeless and being young on the street. And she did a lot of things almost like for a cry for help, you know what I mean? And it was very tough to see her on that journey, but to know that she passed away to a drug overdose, I was like, I'm not okay with just letting everyone just remember her off of just that, like, and I'm gonna be honest with you, I felt like knowing her in the process, I was like, if I had a little bit more of educational tools to like really help her, I feel like I could have did a little bit more. And that kind of really sat with me and bothered me. So I was like, what can I do now? Like, I can't go back, but I could do something positive moving forward. How do I make her name remembered in a positive way, and not just like for the girl who passed away from an overdose and was bullied on social media? So I essentially kind of used her story in a sense in the music video. I wanted to make sure I catered it to youth because Debbie was actually underage. When she passed away, I believe she was 17 or 18. And I don't think a lot of people know that she was that young.
Yeah.
So it's my job as an artist and someone with a big platform to make sure that no other kids feel like they're alone like that, and they have to go through that type of process. And I want to make sure if I ever meet anyone in those same circumstances that I connect them with the right people right away.
Absolutely.
And this has been a very educational journey for me, just learning the other companies and just people who are really out there to help, and just to really understand that we're not alone and it's okay not to be okay, you know what I mean? So that's kind of how all this stemmed together, and just to see being here today, the platforms that I'm on, and the write-ups and people really paying respect and helping me spread awareness is just amazing. And it just goes to show, like, I'm doing the right thing. And,
yes, you are.
And God has me on this right journey, so.
Yes, and God has you. That's absolutely incredible. And it's powerful the way that you're able to honor Debbie, right, and her legacy, keeping her memory alive, but using this as an opportunity to share and to educate. And after watching the video, it's powerful. As a parent, as a mom, I can connect with it, right? And it allows me to have conversations with those young people around me who I have in my care,
Absolutely.
whether it's my immediate children or just immediate children in the community. So that message, the video, it's powerful, and it's more than just a song that you were able to put out there,
Yes.
right? There's a powerful message behind it, and you're able to have people come and realize that there is help and there is hope out there.
Absolutely.
Right.
And there's a lot. And going back to what you said, like, I use this music video even when I go to school as an educational tool to have these conversations.
Yes.
Because we're essentially showing them, like, we know what you experienced in high school. We see it. And even talking to the students, they're like, yo, we see this every day. Like, this is really what it is. Like, wow, I never expect to, like, visually see it so raw. And but it's true that this is what they go through. And these are the options that they're faced with. Am I going this way? Am I going that way? Like, it's all about, like, who's around them, being around the right people. So
yes,
having these conversations
is important too.
Exactly. And just showing them for real, like, if you go down this path, this is what it looks like when it gets dark, and I don't want you to be over there. There's a better side, a more positive side, so.
I want to touch on something, because you're doing it right now. You're being vulnerable as a young Black man, talking about your emotions. That's unheard of in our community, right? And here you are sharing your emotions with the world. Why is that important? And how do you feel that will impact other young men out there?
That's a good question. It's definitely important to me, because it's almost like, outside of writing music, this is also therapy. I'm letting things out that usually I would just hold inside, and essentially it will haunt you. It will stick to you and bring the wrong things around you. So it feels good to, like, tell people what I'm actually going through and how I actually feel, because it's therapy. It feels good. Outside of that, understanding, like, especially growing up in a Black home in the Black community, this mental health is a conversation we never have. I don't even remember ever hearing mental health, just that word alone in my household. So to understand that, talk to friends about it too, and they feel the same way. We need to change that narrative, because it's not always about, you got to be tough, you got to be strong, go to church and pray on it. It's like, what do you do outside of that? Because we all, the whole human race, we all go through different emotions, and I feel like different communities are a little bit better at talking about mental health.
Absolutely.
And they accept that. Where in the Black community, I feel like it's almost like you're looked at like you're weak if you're going through things, and that's not true. We're all human, we all experience things, and we got to do better.
Absolutely, and it takes a certain level of courage and strength to share your emotions and to talk about the things that are deeply impacting you.
Absolutely, but I can't even take responsibility for that. I give it up to God. I honestly feel like, He's blessed me with, not feeling like, oh, I'm judged here, and I don't care about that stuff. If I'm saving even one person's life, having this conversation, that's enough for me,
And I know you're doing some amazing things, just even with your social media platform, having those conversations with individuals in the community. What has the response been like? Especially, again, I'm going to focus on our young Black men, because they're critical, right? And they're often one of the most marginalized groups of people in the society. So
yes.
What has the response been like?
It's been very emotional, very deep, but very real. And I say that because going back to what you said about, the artist persona and just being always flashy all the time, a lot of people feel like, that's what they need to be. And they neglect how they really feel, and they hide what they really go through in life. And I feel like me being vulnerable has shown, someone who a lot of people look up to, like, as a leader, especially in the community. Me being vulnerable is just opening so many doors for other people to come out and share their stories.
Absolutely.
So releasing this record, I can't even tell you how many messages I've gotten of just people, like, letting me know their experiences with mental health, and some of our stories are even, like, almost identical. And I've just been open to having these conversations with them and letting them know, like, you're not alone, and having Instagram lives and talking about grief and anxiety, depression, drug misuse. These are all real serious topics that happen every single day, and it's important to talk about it, especially coming from an artist. We don't really hear, like you said, artists being vulnerable and really talking about these things. So to be one of them, I'm grateful.
That's amazing. And you were able to partner, I believe, with CAMH?
Yes, CAMH.
Okay.
Yes.
Tell me about that journey.
I'm gonna be honest, I essentially wanted to talk to CAMH and also Kids Help Phone. Unfortunately, with the release time and, there's a lot of things that happen behind the scenes, they just didn't get back in time for me to legally be able to add their information.
Okay.
But, now being more into the schools and stuff, I know that's something that a lot of the schools push, Kids Help Phone. So that's also a company that essentially I want to partner up with too, and really promote to the kids, it's okay to call that line. It doesn't make you weak or you shouldn't be embarrassed. They're actually there to help, and that's a great platform to be on. So perfect. I definitely feel there's a lot of companies out here as well. We got, I'm not sure if you ever heard of Stolen from Africa.
Yes, I think he's on your platform, your Instagram.
Yes. My homie Logic, that's my big brother. He does a lot of great things for the community as well. So there's a lot of people in power. It's just about bringing the pieces together and continuing to grow, especially within the Black community. Definitely,
and it is so critically needed, these tough conversations.
Absolutely.
Right. If you were to look back at your younger self, the 14-year-old Fame, what would you say to him?
So I get this question a lot in interviews, and I always say the same thing. I wouldn't say anything, only because I wouldn't want to mislead or change anything, because I wouldn't be who I am today if I changed any step of the way. You know what I mean? I'm here from experience. I'm here from the things I go through or went through in the past. So I just wouldn't change anything, because it might take me a whole nother way,
Okay, not even to say, grind it out, you'll make it. No?
I feel like I went through everything I needed to go through for a reason.
I like that. Yeah. That's interesting, and that you don't often hear that response when you ask such a question. So I like that. It's unique.
I believe in manifestation, and if you believe in God, then you really got to believe in God and trust the process. And for you to question the process, it's normal sometimes, but I'm not going to question it for the long run. I really do believe so.
Okay, wow.
Yeah, I'm in good hands.
Love that. 30 seconds. What message would you give to the youth out there?
Oh, okay, 30 seconds. We got 25 seconds now.
Yes.
All of you guys, stay motivated. Try your best to be a leader. Come together, especially when it comes to mental health, spread awareness, and please understand you're not alone, and there is help out there. I'm here to help you, so just reach out. It's love.
Love it. Thank you so much, Fame. What a year. Indeed, yes. What a year. Thank you for the amazing work that you're doing in the community and creating awareness around mental health. It has been incredible having you on the show.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
No problem. Until next time, thank you for joining us on In Conversation with Alethia. See you soon.
Call the Rogers TV viewer response line, email us, or connect with us on social media.
When we turn a blind eye to racism, we turn a blind eye to ourselves. As Canadians, we disavow all forms of racism, built on a foundation of